Welcome to Asia Outlook. I'm Melody and I'm here to report the top stories from around Asia. Russia has become the first country in the world to register a COVID-19 vaccine, local media reported, quoting President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday. CGTN Andrew Wilson has more from Oxford, UK.
The Russian authorities and the president say they're satisfied with current progress. Vladimir Putin has called it a world first and agreed that October should be the target date for rolling out vaccinations to the public.
Two vaccines are now the most promising. One of them was developed by the Gamaleya Research Institute of Epidemiology and Microbiology in conjunction with the Research Institute of the Ministry of Defense. Its state registration is planned in August 2020.
Moscow's Gamaleya Institute has been carrying out trials for the past 2 months. The World Health Organization has urged the Russian researchers to keep to international guidelines for vaccine production.
Really, I can just say that we are in a close contact with the Russian health authorities and discussions are ongoing with respect to possible WHO pre-qualification of the vaccine. But again, pre-qualification of any vaccine includes the rigorous review and assessment of all required safety and efficacy data.
But President Putin appears convinced, publicly describing his daughter's experience on the early testing program.
It has a more specific effect. It forms a stable antibody and cell-mediated immune response. I also know it very well because one of my daughters was subject to this vaccine. I think it means she took part in the experiment. After the first injection of the vaccine, her temperature was 38 degrees. The following day, it was a bit over 37, and that's it.
More than 100 possible COVID-19 vaccines are currently being worked on around the world. The Russian vaccine is not among the 6 that have been cleared for phase 3 clinical trials on human patients. Andrew Wilson, CGTN, Oxford, UK.
India has seen another record daily rise in coronavirus infections. Its health ministry reported nearly 67,000 new cases on Thursday. It also registered more than 900 deaths, bringing the total to over 47,000. India has reported nearly 2.4 million total cases, third highest tally after the United States and Brazil. South Korea has also reported its greatest number of locally transmitted cases since the end of March. The country registered over 100 new cases over the past days, 85 of which are local transmissions. Most of the cases can be traced back to the capital Seoul and surrounding areas. Officials warned that relaxed physical distancing rules could be tightened if the cases continue to rise. Russia has become the first country to approve a coronavirus vaccine, a move that has been met with skepticism due to the small sample the vaccine was trialed on. Michael Head, Senior Research Fellow in Global Health at the University of Southampton, highlighted the vaccine's effectiveness and safety concerns. Dr. Amash Adalja, a senior scholar at the Johns Hopkins University Center for Health Security, expressed his concern that if something goes wrong with Russia's vaccine, it may undermine public confidence in any COVID-19 vaccine.
From what little has been released on it thus far, it appears as though the vaccine has only been tested on a few dozen people. So we're really at too early a stage to truly assess whether it's going to be effective, whether it's going to work or not. So there's two potential areas of concern. One is that the vaccine won't actually be very effective, and the other one is around safety. Both aspects are going to be hugely important, not just in terms of the vaccine itself, but in terms of the public confidence as to whether they want to accept the vaccine or not.
I thought that there was likely a danger in doing this before we know how safe and effective this vaccine is, because right now we're engaged in a global race to develop a vaccine as quick as possible. And we have to worry not only about making a safe and effective vaccine, but creating confidence in the public so that they desire to actually take this vaccine. And if something were to go wrong, that's going to set us all back. So we want to be very careful about how we do this. So if something happens in this Russian experience in terms of a new safety signal, or maybe it doesn't show to be as effective as possible, that's going to color all of the other vaccines and make the public health messaging much harder.
Book publishers and retailers are struggling to meet their overheads during the pandemic. Many are considering shutting their doors for good, unable to stay profitable during lockdowns and the subsequent loss of customers. But others are going virtual or turning to new business models to keep sales up. CGTN Miro Liu has more on this from Singapore.
The coronavirus crisis has increased the demand for books, with readers around the world stuck indoors and looking for solace in paperbacks. The weekend before Singapore went into its version of lockdown, the National Library Board saw a 225% jump in physical loans. The lockdown itself, however, led to a plummeting footfall for independent bookstores. City Book Room estimates that sales went down by 50%, prompting them to connect with their readers virtually.
From the positive side, it actually pushed us to set up the online store in a very short time, and I think this is good for the bookstore. Due to the circuit period, we also curated selected books that we recommend to our readers to read. And in fact, the response is quite good.
Going digital is also creating fresh opportunities for authors. The physical publishing of Singapore-based writer Shivaji Das' new book has been disrupted, which has forced him to modify his promotion strategy.
I'm trying to promote this book through online channels, and in a way it has opened up more avenues for me. For instance, places or venues or forums where it would have been difficult to give an online talk earlier because they were more inviting of physical appearances. Now they're more welcoming for such webinars or digital talks about the book, and hopefully it will result in some consumption of ebooks.
Even before the pandemic, many bookstores were struggling with high operating expenses, low margins, and increasing competition coming from online and digital offerings. For some of them, the pandemic might be the last straw.
Most of the independent bookstores or even independent publishers are already struggling, and due to the structural problems. And the pandemic probably just accelerated the process. Every year we're facing the dilemma that whether we want to continue or not. Yeah. So and if the loss is within our ability, then we try to go on, as long as we can. Yeah, but so we just have to stay optimistic and do the best we can. But end of the day, I think it's down to the people and down to our readers. Yeah.
Bookstore owners say they're not competing with e-commerce giants like Amazon. What they offer is a carefully curated collection, the personal touch, and the intoxicating smell and thrill of a new book. Miro Liu, CGTN, Singapore.
Indonesia's Mount Sinabung has erupted with a string of blasts that sent plumes of ash 2 kilometers into the sky, triggering a flight warning and fears of lava flows. This is at least the 8th time that the rumbling volcano on Sumatra Island has erupted in less than a week, although there were no injuries or major damage reported. Music lovers in Thailand's capital Bangkok were treated to a first-of-its-kind experience with a tuk-tuk drive-in concert on August 8th. It was the first major music festival since the COVID-19 lockdown was lifted. In order to comply with strict social distancing regulations, concertgoers were picked up by a tuk-tuk and stayed in the 3-wheel taxis for the duration of the concert. Tuk-tuks have become symbolic of Bangkok for many tourists. The festival gave the colorful rickshaws a chance to act as concert seats. Stay with us as we bring you more news on Asia Outlook. Malaysia and Singapore have begun to accept border crossing applications again after months of closure. Before the pandemic, over 300,000 people commuted between the two countries to work every day. But that stopped in March when the borders were closed. Applicants that are accepted can begin traveling within a week. TikTok has less than 45 days to sell its U.S. operations, or face being banned under President Donald Trump's executive order. Also included in the ban is Chinese messaging app WeChat. So what does this mean for WeChat's users and businesses? CGTN Mark New has more from Sunnyvale, California.
I just wanted to check in with you because I know that it's been kind of slow.
Sabrina Ho uses WeChat to send voice messages to her parents, who also use WeChat to message friends and relatives in China.
It's just sad that if it does go away, that it would have a lot of families and friends in the blank about like how they are.
In 2019, Chinese visitors spent more than $1.3 billion visiting the San Francisco Bay Area. For many of them, WeChat, with its ability to make payments, played a valuable role.
We have worked with WeChat in the past, right, to identify opportunities to work with restaurants so that they can get set up. WeChat actually recently had started a series where, they're working with Napa Valley, right, to promote business there and to promote tourism.
Chu Bryant's Global SF helps bring in investment from around the world, especially China.
Seeing Chinese investment come through the door, I think it is definitely going to slow down, and they are going to think twice. And I think, unfortunately for America, that a lot of the investment may actually go to Europe.
In his executive order, U.S. President Donald Trump cited WeChat data being accessed by the Chinese government as a major reason for the ban. Anna Han, the first foreign lawyer to work out of Shanghai, shares the data privacy concerns, but says it's already well known that WeChat is monitored, but she questions what the ban will achieve.
The U.S.-China trade relations, and I use that term broadly, has been I think in some ways the worst it's ever been since when the two countries first established relations in the late 70s. There is distrust, there is attacks, counterattacks, retaliations on every trade move you make. You ban our apps, we ban yours. You close our consulate, we close yours. So there's this whole tit for tat going on, and that's not good for business.
WeChat's parent company, Tencent, owns or holds stakes in America's largest gaming companies, including Epic Games, which created one of the world's most popular games, Fortnite. Tencent also has a $1.5 billion streaming deal with the NBA. While it's unclear how these businesses will be impacted, Han believes the Trump administration is more focused on tech.
The U.S. says, do not come into our tech sector. The Chinese government is saying, go acquire tech. So I think that tension is going to be there for some time to come. And you have to find that middle ground. When Chinese companies come to the U.S., the real question is, do they operate independently?
One glaring question that remains is how the ban will be implemented. Professor Han says in the U.S., it's very difficult to try and block an app or have users delete it from their phone. Instead, it's more likely that support for the app in the U.S. will be discontinued and that users will be left with an old version that no longer has the latest features or updates. Mark New, CGTN, Sunnyvale, California.
Pakistan celebrated its 73rd Independence Day on Friday. People in the port city of Karachi marked the occasion with stunning fireworks. Immigration authorities said they will resume issuing permits for Macau citizens to travel to Chinese mainland. South China's Guangdong province will resume releasing entry permits for Macau to citizens of its Zhuhai city on Wednesday and to citizens in the rest of the province on August 26. The authorities will resume releasing Macau entry permits to all citizens on the Chinese mainland on September 23rd if the situation in Macau continues to be suitable. Macau has not seen any new COVID-19 cases for more than 130 days. The Philippines says it will start phase 3 clinical trials of Russia's coronavirus vaccine in October. The government says it will be conducted simultaneously in Manila and Moscow, and the vaccine is expected for approval by the Philippines Food and Drug Administration by April 2021. The development has been met with optimism by top officials, including President Rodrigo Duterte, who volunteered to be first in line for the trial. The medical community there have urged officials to exercise caution. Of the phase 3 of the clinical trial will see thousands of people vaccinated to test for safety. A special event was held in the southwest China of Xishuangbanna Autonomous Prefecture on Wednesday to mark the annual World Elephant Day, an occasion aiming to bring attention to the urgent plight of Asian and African elephants. Authorities of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea have delivered food and medical equipment to the border city of Kaesong, which was put under lockdown last month after one COVID-19 case was detected. State media released footage trucks delivering supplies to city residents. They also showed video of hundreds of people gathered at the party auditorium to thank the authorities. The person suspected of being infected reportedly defected to South Korea in 2017 and showed symptoms after returning to the north.
To the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, authorities there have delivered food and medical equipment to the border city of Kaesong. The city was put under lockdown last month after one case of the coronavirus was detected. State media released footage of trucks delivering supplies to city residents, and they also showed video of hundreds of people gathered at a party auditorium to thank authorities. Now, the person suspected of being infected reportedly defected to South Korea in 2017 and showed symptoms after returning to the north.
Singapore destroyed ivory worth millions of dollars to curb rampant poaching of elephants and prevent the stockpile from re-entering the market. The ivory pieces weighing 9 tons and valued at $13 million in the international market were destroyed to mark the World Elephant Day on August 12. There are more news coming on Asia Outlook, so make sure you stick around. Turkey and Greece have long been at odds over gas exploration rights in the eastern Mediterranean, and tension is likely to rise as Ankara announced fresh moves in the area. CGTN Bar David has the details.
On Monday morning, Turkey issued a maritime advisory known as Navtex, announcing that a Turkish ship will start carrying out a seismic survey in the eastern Mediterranean. According to Turkey's Energy Minister Fatih Dönmez, the Turkish ship named Oruç Reis has left the port of Antalya this morning and has reached the area where it will carry out its gas exploration mission near the Greek island of Castellorizo until August 23rd. Turkey had previously issued a survey for the same region in July, triggering tension with Greece. But Ankara had decided to suspend the mission following an intervention by Germany. On Sunday, Turkey's presidential spokesman Ibrahim Kalin stated that Ankara and Berlin had been in discussion to resolve the issue, but halted talks following an unexpected move by Athens. Last Thursday, Greece and Egypt signed a maritime agreement designating an exclusive economic zone between them. Ankara has called the agreement null and void. Turkey has a similar agreement with Libya, which has received reactions from Greece. Kalin has stated Greece's actions aim to exclude Turkey from eastern Mediterranean and limit the country's efforts to the Gulf of Antalya. The move is likely going to increase tension between the two NATO allies. However, both sides have stressed they are open to dialogue. Mikhail Bardavit, CGTN in Istanbul.
When Jenny Colson and Sachin Kavar opened a dog shelter in China's southern metropolis of Shenzhen, they didn't expect the number would reach 200. The dogs came from all around the country. Some were abandoned street dogs, while others were rescued from butchers. CGTN Zhao Yunfei has more.
When Jenny Colson and Sachin Kavar opened this dog shelter, they didn't expect the number would reach 200.
I think they're more enthusiastic compared with pet dogs, like compared with the dogs at home.
Yeah.
Why?
They're just craving for attention, basically. They just want love, they want homes. You can see they're not wild dogs. And yet, you know, some of them are actually probably stolen pets.
Jenny says she can't tell where all of her dogs came from. Some were abandoned street dogs, others were saved from the butcher. But whatever they've gone through, Jenny says she wants to help them find a home for good.
Our ultimate aim is, you know, to educate people on responsible pet ownership.
Shenzhen is launching a civilized dog raising campaign aimed at physically licensing all pet canines in the city. Li Rongzhi is among the first group of owners to participate. His border collie named Buddy will be implanted with a grain-sized microchip containing the owner's information. Ever since he got Buddy, Li says she's become an active member of the family.
平时和女朋友吵架，如果说话说大声了嘛，他会跑来凶你。如果有时候我们两个人玩闹打的话，他也会过来劝架这种。
Li says the chip is like an official tie to Buddy, making them inseparable. Shenzhen's Futian district is managing to give chips to all of its 30,000 registered pet dogs free of charge in the coming months.
市民呢也有一种责任感，他认为植了芯片跟他就是说关联上了，那么这个狗他要养好狗，要做到文明养犬。
For Jenny and Sachin, they hope no dog will suffer the trauma of living locked up in a cage, and microchipping is one step further to making sure that doesn't happen.
Microchipping dogs is definitely a good idea. Like it would help you track down the owners and all of that.
That's important.
They say they're witnessing increasing awareness in regard to responsible pet ownership in Shenzhen. And that's something that makes them comfortable living in and loving the city. Zhao Yunfei, CGTN, Shenzhen, Guangdong Province.
And that's all we have for today's Asia Outlook on MI Radio. I'm Melody. We'll be back next week. Until next time.